Welcome, this is Shakti Carola Navran. I'm an online astrologer living on Maui, and I'm very passionate about astrology. So I'm doing a lot of forecasts, like today we're going to talk about the upcoming week. I do daily preparations of 1 minute on the same page here. So my intention with all this is to teach you a little bit about astrology and what it can do and what it can't do. It doesn't predict the future in the arena of manifestations, in the three-dimensional expression, but we do have what I call the celestial waves coming at us with a certain intention, with a certain frequency, and we are invited to consciously connect with those universal forces. And so more we know about that, so more we have a choice if we want to do that on the high-end level instead on the low-end level of things. So I do know everybody lives their charts. The question is just, is it low-end, is it high-end? So I like to give you an overview over what is coming, so you have a chance to prepare yourself. And as we say here on Maui, surf the wave. So every child here on Maui knows that you can't fight a wave. Same with the planetary energies. You can't change it, but you can consciously bring it into an expression you like to see. And the deciding factor is your consciousness. So that's why I'm doing this forecast, to give you a little more experience with how you can do that. And of course the most powerful is, so more individualized that forecast is. So if you don't know your chart, you can go to my website, mauiastrologyreading.com, sign up for your newsletter. First of all, I can keep you in the loop with my forecast. Second of all, you will get your free birth chart. So then, like this week, we have the full moon coming, the biggest event of the week. So then you will see where that is happening in your chart, in which area of your life. And it will give you a lot of more concrete information than the general overview I'm able to do. So that's why I really like to teach you and inspire you to take it a step deeper and to see what astrology can do for you. Alright, so the future is not set in stone. That's kind of the underlying big idea, that we are creating our future right now, in the present moment. So let's see what the future has has available for us. So the coming week is kind of dominated by a big full moon in Gemini, and by definition a full moon is always kind of something is emotionally flowering, is really in the spotlight, becomes emotionally very concrete and available to us. So in whatever sign the full moon is happening, that kind of sets the tone where that awareness is happening. So also this full moon is not only in Gemini, but it's also opposing Saturn in Sagittarius. Saturn, Sun conjunction in Sagittarius. So we will discuss that. If you have been following me for a while, you know that last week we talked about how you can feed and balance your heart. So each week with these forecasts, I try to give you an overall idea what this week is about. I do get through all the individual days throughout the week to give you a little more concrete preparation, but I think it is very helpful to just get a sense of what this week is about. So last week was about that emotional balance and how we achieve that in these turbulent times. And of course we're going to talk about that again and again, but then this week that perspective shifts into what we're feeding our mental body. What do we put into our consciousness? And we all are kind of aware that whatever we eat to build a healthy physical body is very impactful. So if you put fast food and processed food into your body, of course over a longer time your body will get sick and not function very properly. The same holds true for the emotional body and the mental body. So this week I'm going to talk about the mental body, and I will give you 3 very concrete steps what you can do this week to create that sense of healthy mental attitude and posture. So whatever we take in through our senses, through our intellect, kind of builds our identity, our beliefs. So that's really strongly important to become aware how we do that, what we feed into our mind. And astrologically, Gemini, where the full moon is happening this week, is a sign ruled by Mercury, where we go out in the world, where we collect all these different experiences and perspectives, where we're curious. It's a sign of the beginner's mind. So we want to learn, we want to have a whole lot of different experiences available to us. That's Gemini. On the other hand, the complementing sign is Sagittarius, but it's also opposing. So it's a challenge to get those 2 aspects balanced and meeting in the middle. So Sagittarius is the one who is interested in the overview. Gemini collects the pieces. Sagittarius takes care for the bigger picture, to make some meaningful overall understanding come to light out of the pictures. So we could say Gemini is a journalist going out into the field, writing the different stories, and the Sagittarian newspaper person is the editor, the one who writes something more general. And Sagittarius, we look at the sign of the philosopher, the seeker, the religious seeker. It's all about how we hold reality and how we filter reality into our own system of values. So this week I would suggest for you to become very, very picky and very, very aware of what you bring into your consciousness. And one way to do that, just to try out, I would suggest for this week, stop to watch the news or news channels or newsletter of political nature. Just cut it out for a week, just as an experiment. I know it's hard to live outside of that because our fear drives us. We want to know what's going on, even if it's bad and we're triggered. But I want you to have the experience this week how you feel if you cut out that mental input. And I mean, we all know what we get served by the media is very filtered, is not even partial the truth about reality. So yeah, I like you to have that experience to see how your emotional body changes when you don't put those anxiety creating political upsetting news into your system, and just see what it does for you. And I would love to hear what it does for you, how your experience is. I'm really curious. So also this is a week to be more aware what else you put into your consciousness, what movies you watch, what books you read. Even more than that, you could really look at the people you surround yourself with, the friends. I think Tony Robbins once said, you become your friends. So you want to be very aware what kind of friends you surround yourself with. So another way to become more self-aware of that mental filter and consciousness creating mechanism inside of us is to start journaling with morning pages. The author of The Artist's Way, she talks about morning pages and how that's a wonderful way to tap into what I call the unconsciousness, the deeper layers of our true being, of our true nature. And morning pages make a lot of sense because in the morning we just come out of dream world and we are more open, we are more connected. So I know people who have written whole books out of their morning pages, because this is a wonderful way to not only become more aware and learn how to record your dreams, remember your dreams, but it's also a wonderful way to really tap into deeper layers and get to know yourself more. Remember, there is a wave in the ocean. You are that wave, and the top of the wave is your consciousness. The belly of the wave is your subconsciousness. So morning pages or journaling in general just creates an opening between unconscious material and you become more conscious. And this is what astrology as a tool holds for you, that we can use that for self-inquiry, to hold a certain perspective and awareness of what the world holds and how the world impacts us. So I call my 1 minute daily little videos, I call them practice astrological awareness, because that's exactly what will help you to become more self-conscious in general. So it's just one very elegant, wonderful way to do that. Okay, so if you watch me the first time, just a little bit about me. I'm what we call an evolutionary astrologer. So I look at everything in the chart from the karmic perspective, from the soul perspective, to become more aware of what you really came in this lifetime to heal, to take to another level of consciousness. So it's a very powerful and wonderful perspective to hold, to look at the things you do know about yourself, which are more the psychological dynamics. So I'm also the founder of Master Astrology Academy, so I teach astrology. I'm a published author. I wrote the book Jewelry and Gems for Self-Discovery, which is an introduction into astrology, and then how you can use gemstones and their perfect frequency, how you can use gemstones and their metaphysical nature in order to strengthen and support and balance inner parts of your personality and your chart. So I will end this video with talking about the gemstone for the week. So I think it's a nice way to have a certain gemstone as a focus, as a conscious anchor for a certain way how to be in life, and how to consciously focus onto some kind of resource we want to integrate in our life. Okay, so mainly what's happening this week, the Sun conjunct Saturn, and the Sun is a symbol of our self-identity, our consciousness, how we as individuals shine into the world in Sagittarius, conjunct Saturn, so we kind of are a little challenged, and that's not just this week, it's a little slower transit there. So, but in general we can say it's an invitation to really become very clear what our beliefs are, what our identity, our sense of self is. And Saturn is the elder. Saturn is the mature one who steps into the shoes of the teacher, of the wise one. And that's the high end of Saturn. So we all are invited to take that journey. Then we will have the moon opposition to that Saturn, because a full moon by definition is a moon opposing the sun. And then the full moon December 13th in Gemini, and then we have the moon going this week through Taurus, Cancer and Leo. So it enters Taurus today, 2 days later it goes into Cancer and then Leo. So that's kind of what I'm going to talk about more specific going through the days of the week. And hello everybody, Sherry, Pali, good to see you. So if you have any questions or comments, please leave them down there, so I will make sure before I close it down that I will get to the questions. Also, if you listen to this at a later point in time on YouTube, to the recording, I will get back to you if you leave me a comment, and please make sure you like it, and on YouTube you can subscribe as well. Okay, so today the 10th. We have that Saturn conjunction Sun conjunction Saturn event, and Moon steps into Taurus. So in general, we can say this is a quieter day in some ways. Quiet in the way of it's about grounding and getting more concrete, dealing with our duties and getting our house in order, which kind of is a nice thing to do on Saturday. So that's the energy of today, to get grounded, to pay attention for the things you can do versus the things you can't do much about. So concentrate on taking care in your own field, in your own home, in your own relationships. So tomorrow, Sunday the 11th, the Sun trines Uranus, and with that we get in a little spark of possibility to change, to step out of a routine. And we all have a routine. I always say we live all in a box. And whenever we have Jupiter or Uranus action, it wants us to push those boundaries from the box and to experience ourselves in a new way, and to break some rules, to break the molds, to interrupt the pattern. And this is where true freedom lies. And whenever Uranus is in the picture as a rebel and the revolutionary, the force of evolution to grow to another level of consciousness, especially when Uranus is in a harmonious way connected to the Sun, that is a good day to do that consciously, to really find that spark of individual self-expression. Sun is the sense of self, Uranus is individuation, so put those together and find a way to integrate those principles. Then Monday, Moon enters Gemini. So after the weekend with the Moon in Taurus, now we're getting, we're already heading towards the full moon, but we kind of start into that new energy of mental agility and stimulation. So we feel more, we want to go out, we want to experience something, we want to communicate, we want to see friends. So Monday is a day where we kind of feel juiced up for the week, we're ready for action, and then also the moon is squared by Neptune on Monday. And Neptune is known as a mystic. Neptune connects us not only with what is in the bottom of our individual wave, our individual soul wave, but it also connects us to what is in the ocean. And Neptune connects us to the ocean consciousness, to the sublime consciousness, the divine, God, morphogenetic field, however you want to call it. So it's a day where we are not only stimulated by the outer world and people we meet and conversations we have, but we will also be able to connect deeper to our inner world. So it's a wonderful day to start with a meditation, to listen to a wonderful piece of music, to sit in the garden with a cup of tea, to take a walk in the morning, to take this kind of active day, but start it out from being in the zone, being truly deeply connected to something bigger than just your ego identity. So that's a wonderful day on Monday where we kind of have those two dimensions to integrate, where we connect with the other, where we go out, where we have fun, and where we connect with something deeper inside of us. Tuesday, big day, the full moon in Gemini. And I do believe the full moon is an astrological fixture we all are kind of in touch with, and it's kind of visible there. Something is happening in the skies. And we all know that we usually are more emotionally sensitive around the full moon, and then it depends especially in which sign it's happening. So we know the crime rate is up. People in the pubs get more drunk than usually, more agitated. The cats are out all over the place and they're loud. and you might not sleep as well. So that's all a sign that something is kind of pushing up out of your unconsciousness, and it's a wonderful time to deal with more unconscious material. I also look at the full moon as a maturation process, which comes really into our consciousness, because the moon is opposed by the sun, and the moon is reflecting the most fully it can the light of consciousness. So we can say the light of consciousness is impacting our emotional body, our inner world, and so we can get information we might not be as easily connecting with at other times. So full moon in Gemini, so there's a fullness in going out, needing to be inspired, needing to dive into new dimensions of understanding. So I imagine Tuesday is a wonderful day to again be quite active and make those connections out there. Then Wednesday, total shift in energy. And remember, the moon is pretty fast. So the moon actualizations I'm talking about, they will change very fast, but nevertheless, when they're on, they're strong in the moment. So the moon shifts on Wednesday the 14th into Cancer. So the moon is in his own sign, so the moon is very strong there and very emotional. So we have a chance to connect to the belly of our individual wave. We have a chance to understand our own emotional machinations in a better way. Is that a word? I'm not sure. Anyway, I assume you understand what I'm trying to say here. So Cancer is a sign of home and family. It's a sign where we on one hand have the ability to nurture and take care for others, but on the other hand it's also the sign of the inner child, and the inner child needs support, needs safety, a sense of security, a sense of bonding. So it's a good day to more deeply connect with the inner divine mother we all carry, no matter what our plumbing is, and to connect with the needs of the inner child. And we all have to find a balance in that, in what we are able to contribute and give to others. And we can only do that if our bowl, our glass is full, so it can overflow. So we always have to start inside, taking care for our own self. And as my friend Pali says, to be on our own side. So I'm still learning about that, but it's definitely in the forefront. So Thursday, moon opposes Pluto, squares Uranus, squares Jupiter. So that's kind of a spunky day, a day where we are potentially more easily irritated or reactive. The high intention of those constellations are to not be as identified with our feelings. I mean, we might have already learned that a little bit with our thoughts, that some people think about the mind as a radio receiver being in resonance with certain thought fields. But the same holds true for our emotions. Our emotions also are not necessarily our individual emotions. So just following these actualizations through astrological actualizations throughout the week will make you more aware of what is really my personal stuff and what do I pick up from the bigger field, the ocean field of consciousness. And that can make a big difference. I mean, we can just allow things to move through and we don't hold on to them. So Thursday, a little more rocky ride, and then Friday, the 16th, the moon enters Leo. So Leo, self-expression, the queen and the king on the stage of life. So it's a day for creativity, to feel good, to try out things, to be playful. So I think we ending the week there on a very beautiful, juicy kind of note. And then next Saturday, moon is opposing Venus. And that's an interesting one, because both planets are representing different aspects of the divine feminine. So while Moon, we can look at the divine mother, the nurturing spirit, Venus as a goddess of love and connection and beauty and art. So we need to make our mind up about who we are, and we will not always be the same. Sometimes we're leaning more towards the Moon, and sometimes we're leaning more towards the Venus. I've heard a client of mine say, how come I always marry a Venus person, and when we're married she becomes a Moon person? So I thought that's kind of an interesting way to look at it, but there's some deeper truth to that. So Venus is about that connection and what we're looking for in a relationship. So the Venus position in your chart will give you a lot of information what you do need in your relationship and what you're looking for, and to open the heart, to have that intimate connection. And then the Moon in your chart is really more there for what do you need overall to be happy. Who are you in your ability to nurture and contribute to life for others. And obviously that's very joyful when we're able to do that. Okay, so I was kind of on the brink what gemstone to talk about this week. I have talked about pearls before, and I think pearls are always a wonderful way to balance out our emotional body, to tap into deeper layers of our unconsciousness. So pearls are just, I wear them a lot. They're just very soothing, very nurturing. But I then decided that I want to talk about the tourmaline, and I have talked about that in my longer video about the full moon, so you can look at that if you want to go deeper into the full moon qualities. So I've talked about the tourmaline, and especially the pink tourmaline. So tourmaline is a stone which connects with the nervous system. It's when you have a tourmaline crystal and you rub it, it will be able to attract little pieces of dust or pieces of papers. It was used to be as a cleaner for pipes in Amsterdam. So they would rub it and then it would clean out the pipe. So tourmaline has that kind of connection to the electricity in the body. And everything is based on the electrical information pathways in the body. So tourmaline comes in a whole variety of colors. So the pink one is the one for the heart, which might be an especially nice one. But just whatever tourmaline you have is a wonderful and appropriate stone this week to play with. So okay, so let me know whatever questions you have, leave me your comments. Don't forget to sign up for your newsletter so I can keep you in the loop, and I hope you will have a wonderful week. And let me see if there were any comments here. Helen, okay. All right, Gemini rising versus Gemini sun, full moon. Yeah, absolutely. So whenever we have planets in Gemini or Sagittarius, this will be an extra impactful week, and it will stimulate whatever planets and what they symbolize in our chart. So okay, so play around with the gemstones, see how they can support you. Have a wonderful week and hopefully thrive. Leave me your comments, get back to me so I know there's somebody out there. And as we say here on Maui, aloha and many blessings.